Welcome to part 4 of Church Live Streaming, the Essential Guide. We'll be talking about additional input sources like pulling Zoom into your stream, Skype into your stream, pulling other computer stuff into your screen, iPads, NDI sources, how to use overheads and song lyrics, sermon outlines and notes, and more. If you've not seen our previous parts, I encourage you to start with part 1 and work your way through all the material up to this point. We cover a lot of ground and we highlight a lot of important information. Otherwise, here we go. So we've talked about bringing a Logitech webcam in or several, and an NDI phone camera in, and maybe a higher end DLSR or mirrorless camera through HDMI capture in. But what about Zoom and Skype? It turns out that you can capture Zoom, your Zoom meeting. You can capture that Zoom session window, and you can include it into your live stream through XSplit. You can do this with OBS also. By the way, I prefer XSplit for a lot of reasons, but and I've used both, and I used OBS initially, and I switched over to XSplit about 2.5, 3 years ago, and I'll never go back. It's just, it's more polished, it's leaner, it's solid, it's easier to learn, it's got more flexible features, and they've got a development team that's developing it instead of people who do it for free because they love it. There are people who are paid to do it who love it. And so they're going to be around, and they're producing more products all the time. And so I highly recommend you try out it's free. What do you got to lose? It's like the best, and it's free. So anyway, you can bring your Zoom session into your XSplit Broadcaster project and stream that all in there. You can bring in 10 or 20 people if you want. I would recommend, if you have a lot of people and you're doing a fancy stream, you're probably going to be fine with quite a few people if you've got a fast enough machine. But if you don't, then I would recommend maybe doing your Zoom session on another laptop or computer, and then using. Now you could use an iPad actually, even too, an iPad Pro or something if it's fast enough, and you can use a screen share, which I'll talk about, and you could bring that Zoom session through a Elgato screen share app into XSplit with the Elgato screen capture plugin. And then you can bring that whole session in without slowing down your machine at all for other things that you're doing. So if you want to have like the, just a group of people that are doing a quick all-in announcement thing, you can bring that into the stream in real time without any problem at all, using NDI sources. So NDI is that Newtek driver. So you can share your XSplit stream as your cameras. Also, so I can share my stream out of my XSplit. I can share that to when Chris calls, or I call Chris and get him in here. I can share what you guys are all seeing. I can share that to him so he sees that too. I can run Skype on the same computer if I want, which is what I'm doing. I can run Skype on a different computer, and I can share that over network NDI. You would need to run XSplit on that other computer too, because XSplit would then capture and send that through NDI across the network, across the Ethernet cables to my computer directly. You can bring Zoom in via a Windows capture, but Skype you can actually use an NDI source, I think, directly. And let's see, you can bring in your Zoom meeting and broadcast them along with your other content, blah, blah, blah. Run your Zoom meeting on the same computer or on another computer or on a laptop or a iPad Pro, right? So that's totally cool, because a lot of people are doing their service with Zoom and that's it. And they're not able to take advantage of all this other stuff that you can do once you're in XSplit. You can bring in another computer and anything that's on it, including sermon lyrics and scriptures and sermon notes and illustrations and media and music and videos. You can bring your Pro Presenter through an NDI source. You can bring Easy Worship in through an NDI source and do all the stuff you would normally do in your normal church service off this other laptop. If you have enough horsepower, you can run it all off the same computer, right? So that's pretty cool and makes things A lot easier than you might imagine. And remember, all this is then going out to Restream.io and going to multiple platforms all at the same time. Really cool. So you can bring anything in from another computer directly into your XSplit OBS as an NDI screen source. Bring in ProPresenter. EasyWorks, talk about that. Bring in separate callers, conference calls, talk shows, interviews, pastor, question answer stuff. You could do that. You could do like, we'll talk about some of that stuff too, but you can offload to other computers and then bring that in, or you can do it all in the same thing. It's very flexible. You just want to have good connectivity. So here's the iPad. Here's the Elgato Screen Share. You want to be in network, at least on Wi-Fi, so there'll be a slight delay. I was going to use my wife's iPad Pro and show you some stuff with that, because you can draw and do presenting and teaching just like you do the chalkboard on Zoom, but it's all on a really much nicer chalkboard than what Zoom gives you, right? And you can trigger videos there too and stuff like that. So it uses Elgato Screen Share app and the screen capture driver for XSplit and Windows, for Windows. Use your tablet as a chalkboard, a teaching tool, slideshow, even stream your gameplay. I wasn't talking about gameplay. You can bring in Skype and Zoom calls from that. Also, you can draw, illustrate, highlight, use your pen and stylus. It's pretty cool. Hey, that's the end of part 4. In our next section, we're going to talk about the importance of good audio. Cheap but great sounding microphones, basic polar patterns and why you need to know and what you need, limitations of certain options, and some basic acoustic stuff. You're going to need to consider all this to improve your sound, and we'll show you how easy it can be. Don't miss it. Hey, if you haven't already, remember to click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and share this with somebody who struggles with some of these same issues or maybe could be helped because their live stream needs a little help. See you soon.